Hi, I'm Dekina Watson, the Shelter Community Manager for Charlotte Family Housing.
And I'm Marquita Henderson, Lead Housing Coordinator here at Charlotte Family Housing.
Look around Charlotte. Our Queen City is exploding in population, and for as far as the eye can see, construction of new high-rise condos, apartments, and homes abound from uptown to the suburbs. Some call it progress.
And yet, over 55,000 Charlotteans lack an affordable place to live. That's 3/4 of the Panther Stadium. And the pandemic has only caused a greater decrease in the inventory of housing available and an increase in the people who need it.
Lack of affordable housing leads to homelessness. But homelessness doesn't always look like the stereotypical sign holding and tent living that most folks assume. It often looks a lot more like
your neighborhood school bus driver who's living in her car,
your barista who served you your latte this morning,
your child's classmate in school,
unseen heroines struggling in unimaginable ways around us all.
And the most vulnerable in this crisis?
Single mothers and their children.
So the definition of housing that's affordable, number one, is that your rent and your utilities take up no more than 30% of your monthly income. For a family making $25,000 a year, when you boil it down, they can only afford about $500 a month in rent. You are not going to find it.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg ranked 50th out of 50 large cities for economic mobility, meaning that if a child is born poor in Charlotte, they are more likely to stay poor than in any of the other communities highlighted in the study. Being born into a family experiencing homelessness usually leads to repeating the cycle.
Among industrialized nations, the United States has the largest number of homeless women and children. 84% of families experiencing homelessness are female-headed.
71% of single-parent families are single-mom-headed. Single-parent families are among the poorest in our nation and thus the most vulnerable to homelessness.
Over 92% of homeless mothers have experienced severe physical and/or sexual abuse during their lifetime. Among all women experiencing homelessness, 60% have children under the age of 18.
So after decades serving our community, a collaboration of Charlotte social workers, shelters, and housing programs came together in 2011 to contemplate one question. What would it look like to come around single mothers and their children who are experiencing homelessness in Charlotte and do more than just throw them a set of keys, but actually empower them? And that's our origin story of Charlotte Family Housing.
Me and my daughter, we were staying with some friends and we got a little separated. You know, we had lost a lot and a lot of it was financial problems. At the time I was working, but the job that I had wasn't paying enough. And I found myself, being that I was new here and didn't have any family, not knowing what to do.
We are a woman-led, majority-minority staffed nonprofit organization founded not as a program but rather a movement of holistic, healthy interventions and advocacy. A movement that plays off the strengths of our heroines, single moms experiencing homelessness. A movement that wholeheartedly believes in the strength of these amazing families.
Since our inception, we've served over 1,300 families and almost 3,000 children.
What I love the most about working for Charlotte Family Housing is now I have the opportunity to assist a lot of the folks that look similar to the people that I grew up with in this community.
96% of the families in our program are single moms of color and their children. 98% of our families sustained housing for at least 2 years after completing our program. 81% of the families graduating our program were able to maintain or increase their income since entry.
At Charlotte Family Housing, we believe that homelessness isn't the problem, but more a symptom. It's the root causes of homelessness that we need to address. Unlike many shelter or housing organizations, our movement is a hybrid model that involves three facets designed to empower, transform, and heal. The first facet, shelter to housing. All of our families start their journey with us at our Plaza Place shelter, a place to pause, to catch your breath, and regroup while keeping the family unit intact. As our shelter staff says, this is the place where the healing begins. We view this stage as a healthy trampoline that propels our families into subsidized, stable housing. Plaza Place can hold up to 15 families. We have 15 rooms, but currently we are reserving one of those rooms to isolate families who are ill from COVID virus, RSV, and the flu. Plaza Place rooms can hold family sizes of 2, a mom and a child, or dad and a child, up to a family size of 10. Throughout their housing journey, our families are supported and empowered to better prepare for self-sufficiency and stable housing.
So a lot of our families are episodic. It's one major event that generally happens. It could have been a medical illness, could have been a loss of a job, and they had nowhere else to go.
May of 2019 was one of the hardest months for me. My mental health was at a really low point. I had just got a 10-day vacay notice from my apartment of 5 years, and I had just lost the love of my life. I didn't have nowhere to go. Sometimes I would be sleeping on my friends' couches, sleeping on my car. It was just a very hard struggle for me. And one day I found out about a transitional shelter program.
I remember late one night I got a call from a family that had just been approved for Charlotte Family Housing Program. She desperately wanted to move in as soon as possible because her boss was nice enough to allow her and her kids to sleep in his RV parked in his backyard, but it didn't have utilities. So I went ahead and just called the staff at Plaza Place and asked them to go ahead and prepare that room, even though it was getting pretty late, to get that family in and out of that RV. When the family arrived, she was just so gracious. She just hugged the staff and had tears in her eyes. The shelter was nothing like what she imagined. She called it a mansion. She felt like she was in a mansion. And that just warmed our hearts that, how grateful she was for something that she truly deserved. Everyone deserves a place to sleep.
When you get to the point in your life where a lot of stuff has happened, and the reality is you really don't know where you're going to sleep, or you're going to sleep in your car, to think about coming to the reality of where am I going to go and how am I going to make it, that is daunting. And so what we try to do is partner with the vast number of folks out there that are experiencing that and who are looking to get out of that situation.
The second facet, trauma-informed care. Homelessness and housing instability are traumatic experiences. Imagine being a single mom with children and having nowhere to live, to sleep, for your kids to play. We create a safe physical and emotional environment, and our social workers provide wraparound supportive services for each family member. They address barriers to family stability and facilitate a 2-generational pathway to financial literacy, parenting education, health, wellness, and job readiness. Our families also have access to free or reduced cost therapeutic care.
With the scholarship that I received from Charlotte Family Housing, I was able to attain regularly therapy sessions and really focus on my mental health and get to the point where I've now completed therapy and I have a mental toolbox that helps me be able to be happy and not be so stuck in my emotions and so stuck in all the things that I was going to. So that very good.
And the third facet, empowerment tools.
One of the things that makes us pretty unique is we have an empowerment approach. We act as a mirror for that client. The reflection that we see is the potential in the client. And when that client sees that, they're invincible. We believe in the power that's in the client that we serve.
Acknowledging that one-way charity is only effective in small doses. We focus on the inherent strength of each family, and we honor this strength by facilitating the transformation of past cycles of failing through a positive, confidence-building, stepped approach. Our moms complete a series of achievable and rewarding transactions to help reconnect with and rebuild their inner strength. Some examples include matching funds for a security deposit, attending workshops that provide tools for them to thrive, and earning motivational achievement points, which we call MAP, for completing program goals which can be cashed in for gift cards and household items.
What I love most about working here at Charlotte Family Housing is the joy that the families receive when they're moved into their new home.
One of the most standout parts for one of the classes that I took was a class that helped me repair my credit. So instead of having to pay somebody, I was able to do that myself, and that has really helped. Yes, my credit score go to 720.
We need you.
This empowerment movement isn't possible without you. We need volunteers, we need resources, we need snacks,
Kids don't want to eat canned goods after school.
air mattresses, full size, not travel size deodorant, someone to clean our ovens when the kids are at school at the shelter. We need creativity and skills of all kinds and time invested. From shopping from our Amazon wish list for supplies to volunteering for workshop trainings, moving days, special events for our shelter and housing families, and so much more.
We have numerous ways for you to give your time, energy, and resources to make this movement a reality.
While our goal to eradicate family homelessness is audacious, we believe that together we can make it so that not one single mom and her children ever become homeless again in this city. We believe in the strength and resilience of the heroines we serve, and when given the space, time, tools, and love needed to soar, they will do so.
We believe that advocacy, self-sufficiency, stability, dignity, and peace of mind can break the cycles of upward mobility for which Charlotte has been historically known. That's actual progress. It's always been about more than housing. It's about hope.
Now I have the tools that they taught me and they showed me to actually take a minute and say, listen, this is what we need to do to get to the next step. I'm able to pay my rent on my own. I'm able to pay my bills on my own. And I'm able to save. And even though I was in a storm and I didn't have anybody, and Charlotte Family Housing opened their arms to us and showed us that we could still move forward. And once you walk through that door, this is what you're walking into, a new future. Because the past is gone, but the future is what Charlotte Family Housing gives you.
Join us in this movement of empowerment, 2 generations at a time.
You are ready.
We need you.